Namaste everyone, and welcome to another insightful conversation on emotional wellness and healing. I'm Sangeeta Shah, founder of Cesta Healing Studio, and where we believe true transformation begins when we'll actually listen to the wisdom of our emotions and our body. Today, we are exploring a question that has intrigued many of us: can food really heal your mood? And to help us decode the science and the soul of this subject, I'm deeply honored to be joined by someone whose work I truly admire. I admire him as a person, and we are very honored to have him on Sesta's platform. He's a doctor of nutrition, a voice for holistic well-being, and a guide for many on the path of reversing disease naturally. Dr. Achyutam Ishwar beautiful bridges ancient Indian dietary wisdom with modern scientific understanding. His work empowers thousands to move from processed living to purposeful plant based nourishment. A very warm welcome, Dr. Achyutam Ishwar, on Cesta's platform. We are truly honored to have you on our platform. Thank you so much, Dr. Ishwar, for being with us today.
Thank you so much, Sangeeta. It is absolute honor to be here. I'm looking forward to this conversation. We've been talking this for so long. I'm excited that we're finally doing it today.
Yeah. I think there's always a reason why things don't happen. We really wanted to have a talk with you during mental health. I think probably it was meant at this time. But just to start with, I just want to ask Dr. Ishwar, like, what does wellness mean to you?
Sure. So, Sangeeta, I would say two things. Okay. One is if I'm able to enjoy my life and do everything that I want to every day, that's the one, like, that's the most important part of wellness for me. Okay. It's about, on one hand, you have your blood test, your lab test, medical reports are all good. But on the other hand, if you have high energy, you're able to sleep well at night, you feel strong, you feel flexible enough, you have the strength and endurance to get through every you need to do to achieve your dreams, your goals, and you feel great every day. That's number one. Number two is if you're able to live for as long as you need to or want to, and
Yes.
spend enough time with your loved ones, doing the things that you love doing, and not have that lifespan cut short, or even more, your health span cut short by a disease or by a condition, then that is wellness. I think those two things together mean wellness to me.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Like you very rightly said, health is not just the absence of a disease or a sickness. I mean, every day morning, if I wake up feeling very good about it, feeling charged and looking forward for the day, is a sign that I am healthy and I am well, right? So emotionally, mentally, and that would obviously impact your spiritual wellness and some way, or even financial wellness, because only my energy, like higher energy, always wins. Lower energy starts showing off. No, no, quite true. But Vishnu, I'm always intrigued to know this. Can you explain me that the gut-brain connection in simple terms? I have heard this vagus nerve connects and this happens. Like there are many complications, but not completely clear. So how the gut-brain are connected to each other in some simple terms.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I hear you. It does seem quite complicated. You say that there are so many nerves in the gut. It's called the second brain. The
Yeah,
enteric nervous system, the intestinal nervous
absolutely.
system is called the second brain. But what connection does that really have to your actual brain? You go into the depths of it, you find two, three things. Okay. Number one is the food you eat helps your brain decide how healthy or unhealthy it is able to be. For example, if we eat a lot of pro-inflammatory foods, processed foods, meat, fish, eggs, for example, then the brain inflammation goes up and the brain starts going into more of, lethargy, inactivity, not so interested in doing the things that I want to do, irritation, anger, frustration, all of these start increasing. On the other hand, when you start eating foods that are healthier for you, foods that give you say less of certain things like arachidonic acid, foods that give you enough fiber to promote a good microbiome, foods that give you enough tryptophan to produce serotonin in the brain. So you go into a detail, lot of small things like these, but when the common thread that ties all of it together is when you eat more wholesome food that comes from plants, especially things like fruits and green leafy vegetables and seeds like sesame seeds, pumpkin seeds, flax seeds, then your brain says, oh, wow, I have the environment that I need to be healthy. I have the nutrients which I need to be healthy, and it gets to work. Okay, and you can start seeing changes in as little as 1 to 2 weeks. 1 to 2 weeks of eating more healthy foods, the symptoms of depression reduce, the symptoms of frustration, anger, irritation start reducing, your happiness levels go up, and you feel so much better. It also works the other way around. If you're stressed out, for example, there was this study they did on students in non exam time and during an exam time. Okay, so in the weeks leading up to the exam and then the actual exam time. And they found that the gut microbiome drops in quality and quantity during the exam time, even though they were eating the same kind of food. And that's because of the effect of the mind on the gut. So it's a two-way signal. Your mind influences your gut health, your gut health influences your mind.
Yeah, yeah, very beautiful. But I was very curious when you said that when you eat the food which is more processed, you said it gives the signal and the brain inflammation. So I always knew about the inflammation in the body, but I never knew about the brain inflammation. Can you just explain me a little bit more in detail for that?
Sure, absolutely. So inflammation can happen in any part of the body pretty much, including the brain. Like when you get hurt somewhere, let's say you hurt your foot bang into a table, it gets red hot and swollen. That's called acute inflammation. But
Right.
inside the body, if the similar inflammation processes continue for a long period of time, that's called chronic inflammation. That's not a good thing. That's what increases your risk for several diseases, everything from heart disease and diabetes and PCOD to premenstrual syndrome, depression, and even Alzheimer's disease. All of these diseases risk gets elevated the more inflammation you have in your body. So when we are able to lower the level of inflammation inside the body, especially inside the brain, you start feeling so much better. Less brain inflammation means more happy thoughts.
Yeah, absolutely. So in our language also we say inflammation means inflamed. As you rightly said, the mind is also very much connected. You spoke about the study of that students who gave exams and during exam the same food they eat, it does not have the same impact. So we say, what is it that inflamed? Where anger. So we reduce it through our technique called balanced emotional empowerment and all that inflammation. Like recently, I think the studies happens in our class all the time because we were teaching intuitive anatomy for 3 weeks, and many of the students, because it was online, they said we were just releasing weight like nothing. They said we just feel connected to only sattvic food, and we are just only eating that because there were a lot of emotional toxicity was getting released from them. And they said, like, people were saying, oh, मेरा 3 kilo वजन गया, I have reduced 4 kgs, I am reducing this, and I'm doing nothing. I'm actually sitting in front of the laptop and doing. So, I mean, it does connect so deeply. But even at food, if I have to take some food every day, which is anti-inflammatory, you spoke about the seeds and all. Is there anything else what people can incorporate in their diet which can really help them?
Absolutely. I would say three things, Sangeeta. One is shift to a more wholesome plant-based diet. Overall, less animal foods, more plant-based foods is the number one biggest thing that you can do simply because it helps you that much. Like when studies assessed how happy do vegetarians versus non-vegetarians feel, they found overall vegetarians seem to have a better mental health or better mental state than non-vegetarians, which means the less animal foods and more plant-based foods we eat, the better we tend to feel every day on average. Now, number two is in plant-based foods, there are a few specific foods. And the first one that's the easiest to start is simply fruits and green leafy vegetables. So fruits and green leafy vegetables have some specific compounds. They're called phytochemicals. They have some specific phytochemicals which support your brain in staying healthy, which support your brain in keeping you happy. So fruits and greens are number two. Number three are seeds, pumpkin seeds, sesame seeds, flax seeds, chia seeds. All of these seeds seem to have a specific nutrient profile which can again help you in staying mentally well balanced and emotionally well balanced and staying happy through the day.
Okay. So as you said, this actually helps people to become less depressed and all. So according to your experience, you know that the food impacts it. So are there any specific food that improve emotional health to reduce anxiety or even mood swings? It's the same thing of the plant-based, or is there anything specifically they should incorporate to reduce the anxiety and the mood swings in their life?
Absolutely. I would say the same thing. There is really, because when it comes to food, right, it's different from medicine. Medicine is medicine. You have a specific issue, you take a specific medicine. Food is completely different because whether you have a health issue or not, you're going to be eating food. And the same food, which can help you to address a health issue, can also help you to prevent the health issue in most cases. And when it comes to brain health, it is definitely true. The less saturated fat you consume, the less arachidonic acid you consume, which means the less animal foods, and the more phytochemicals you consume of specific kinds. For example, berries and seeds and a lot of spices have certain phytochemicals which can help you to inhibit the action of monoamine oxidase, which is an enzyme in the brain, and that performs a similar function to some drugs like SSRIs, and it helps to elevate your mood. It's not a replacement for the medicine, of course, but it helps to elevate your mood. It helps you to feel better. Okay. Another thing that people tend to confuse and I would like to distill in a bit is when you eat high carbohydrate foods, like you eat sugar, instantly you feel better, feel good.
Yeah.
Okay, but then there's a crash that comes later. So it might feel like sugar is a good thing, and it does help in the short term, like for a few minutes, but it turns right around when it starts causing damage later. So we'll talk a little more
Yeah.
about that soon, I'm
But
sure,
then
in the
when we
coming
insist
question.
so much on fruits, is that safe for the diabetic people? Because fruit, when I'm consuming fruit, it is still has those natural sugar, and it instantly can increase the sugar levels also. So anyone and everyone can consume that. And nowadays people are very worried for the weight gain and all also. So like all fruits can be consumed.
Absolutely. See, fruits are calorie dilute. They are not like if you take table sugar or oil or processed foods, they're very high in calorie density, but fruits are not. Like one gulab jamun, 1 cup of gulab jamun with two pieces, or one samosa, each of them has about 300 calories. But if you need to eat the same quantity of calories from a fruit, let's say watermelon, for example, you need to eat 1 kg watermelon just to get the same calories. Okay, now forget watermelon. Let's say I want a really sweet fruit like a mango. It's mango season now. So, mango, how much mango? You need to eat more than half a kg of mango to get 300 calories. So, and where is one samosa? It's not the same. The mango is a lot more in quantity for the same number of calories. Okay. The other thing is because fruits have fiber and they have phytochemicals, they help to protect your body from the same calories which they contain. Now, if you have uncontrolled diabetes, if your sugar levels are consistently high, above 180, above 200, despite the medicines, despite insulin, then it's not about fruits, it's about any food at all. Any carbohydrate containing food, you need to be careful while you eat to make sure your sugar levels don't spike and crash. And that means it extends from fruits to whole grains to dals to root vegetables, starchy vegetables, all of these. So it's best to do it under medical supervision. But unless you have uncontrolled diabetes, if your diabetes has been controlled with medication or even a healthy lifestyle, then fruits are your friend. You can include them safely in moderation in your meals. And the best part about fruits is you can't really eat too much of fruits at any time. How much will you eat? 1 kg watermelon in one sitting, that itself difficult to get through. You can't eat one more kg watermelon immediately after that. It's difficult to overeat fruits. But give me gulab jamun, I'm
You
happy
can.
to eat as many. Just
Yeah, when
good
people
in.
jump on sweets as if they are feeling depressed, if they are, that's like emotional binging. The any food which is sweet, I think the instant energy and the mood boosting, they do it. But if I have to eat some natural food to boost the mood and on a stressful day, what can be the replacement instead of that?
Absolutely. That's a great question, Sangeeta, because the reason sugar helps you feel better is actually a scientific reason. So, what happens when you consume carbohydrate rich foods like sugary foods? Okay, so let me take two steps back. Okay, this is something called serotonin, which is present in the brain. If you have enough serotonin and it's working, doing its job well in the brain, you should be feeling happy and satisfied. But if you don't, if there are processes which are working against those mechanisms, then you don't feel so happy anymore. Okay, now there is a precursor to serotonin called as tryptophan. Tryptophan is what the body uses to make this serotonin. And when you eat foods that contain tryptophan, it goes into the brain, and your brain takes the tryptophan and makes more serotonin from it. Okay? Where do you find tryptophan? You find it in a lot of different foods. You find it more so in plant foods. Now, the problem is when you consume by the way, tryptophan is an amino acid from protein. It's one of the amino acids that makes up protein. Now, when you eat foods, now when I say protein, the first thing you're going to think of is meat, fish, dairy, eggs, right? So when you eat those protein rich foods, when you measure your blood, you have more tryptophan in the blood. But when you measure your brain, your tryptophan levels drop.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, less tryptophan. Why does this happen? Because from the blood to the brain, there is something called a blood-brain barrier in between. That blood-brain barrier picks up selectively what it wants to give the brain and takes from the blood and gives to the brain. And all the amino acids get into a competition for this. They say me first, me first, me first, and tryptophan might not get its turn enough times. But when you eat carbohydrate rich fruits, and this is where sugar comes in, and okay, when you eat that sugar, the pancreas release insulin, the muscles start burning the sugar, and along with that sugar, the muscles also take up non-tryptophan amino acids. They take up the rest of the amino acids except tryptophan. So your brain gets a lot more tryptophan. So basically, when you eat sugar, your brain is able to make more of the happy hormone, and it keeps you happy. Okay. The problem is that sugar, when you get from processed food, it lasts for a very short time. Within a half an hour, that sugar level has spiked up and then it starts crashing down. When that crash happens, that's when the cravings kick in. That's when you feel like eating the next dose of sugar and the next dose of sugar. Okay. And that is not a good thing. Okay. That needs to be avoided. How do you avoid that? You eat carbohydrate rich foods, but you eat them from wholesome sources like fruits, like root vegetables, starchy vegetables, like whole grains from dals, pulses, legumes. So your an aloo paratha made without oil, your a brown basmati rice pulao, a vegetable biryani. Although I'm sure if I say vegetable biryani, there'll be a whole debate just on that alone. But yeah, go for it. You want to be happy. You're not worried about what is an original recipe or not. Best recipe that you can follow is one that gives you happiness and health.
So, I mean, I was little more intrigued for this question when you said that Normally, people have the tendency that the protein is only in the meat, fish, eggs, or milk, yogurt, paneer. So, if you go plant-based, how do you source your daily protein intake?
Absolutely. See, dals, lentils, legumes are high protein foods. They're foods that contain more than enough protein for your body.
But
On
they have carbs
average,
also, right?
Indians get, yeah, on average, Indians get approximately how much protein they need, plus or minus a bit, depending on whether it's a rural or urban area. And if you want to up it, if you want to push it over that limit and make sure you're getting enough, the simple solution is to simply eat a little more of dals and get some carbohydrates from those dals. Okay, it's not just a protein source.
Yeah.
That's the difference between an animal source and a plant-based dal, for example. The difference is chicken has has protein but not no carbohydrates basically. But the dal has protein along with carbohydrates. So that's the confusion that comes in. Okay, but the good news is when you eat that dal from eat protein from the dal, once you consume it, there are two, three things that happen. Number one, the carbohydrate works with the tryptophan in the dal to keep you happy. So it's a good thing. Okay. Number two, the fiber that comes with the dal and the phytonutrients that come with the dal keep you healthy for the long term. They lower the brain inflammation, they improve your gut health. And overall, better gut health means better brain health. Okay. And number three, your lifespan and health span start increasing. Like one of the things dals do is the more dal you eat, the lower your blood sugar levels. The more dal you eat, the lower your pulse rate, the lower your blood pressure. Like the biggest causes of death in India today is heart disease. It comes from diabetes, hypertension, and these diseases are the ones that we really need to be wary about and make sure we are taking steps to prevent them now before it gets too late. So, eating more protein from plant based sources, especially from lentils, legumes, pulses, can help you to prevent long term health issues while keeping you satisfied both physically and mentally, emotionally today itself.
Yeah. No, no, that was very, very helpful. So I understood the sugar part. I want to understand about the caffeine also because people are addicted to tea, coffee, something. So how
Yeah.
does the caffeine affect their physical and emotional well-being?
Absolutely. I'd say very similar to maybe a different mechanism, but similar to how you feel good when you eat sugar, you feel good when you take caffeine. You also feel good when you chew tobacco or smoke or drink alcohol. All of these foods have physiological mechanisms to make you feel good within seconds to minutes. But then what happens after that? You get into a cycle where you feel like having one more cup of tea at some point, maybe 1 hour later, 2 hours later in the evening, or the next day morning. At some point, you're going to feel like having that next cup of tea. Why? Because it's a temporary effect. But on the other hand, when you eat a wholesome, healthy diet, when you balance it out with enough fruits, vegetables, greens, dals, pulses, legumes, whole grains, nuts and seeds, herbs and spices, then your body keeps you stable. Okay, when it comes to mental health, the one thing that we are, if you like have to crystallize everything and say this is the most important thing, that most important thing, and please correct me if I'm wrong, that most important thing is not happiness, it's stability. Yes,
So more,
being able to stay calm, being able to stay peaceful, not be overjoyed all the time, at the same time, not be depressed all the time. We need to be able to maintain that stability and feel calm and peaceful. And that is something that a wholesome, healthy diet can give you.
yeah, so that's what, like, I think in our terms, we say when you are more aligned to your own self, then you're not looking for a reason to be happy because one rasgulla can make me happy for the first time, then the 10th rasgulla can be my reason of unhappiness also. So, I mean, we conduct a workshop and we call it no reason happiness. This is the day you will, because if you are looking for a reason to be happy, the reason is going to get over one day, and that will become your reason of unhappiness. But when the joy is the nature of the soul, it comes from within. And when I'm more aligned, I'm connected to myself, I'm more stable, I'm more in balance, and I know how to deal with the different situations of life. Then I'm not looking for, oh, I mean, a support, because even caffeine is a support. In that, like, okay, I'll drink one coffee, my brain will function. That's what I have heard people. I need tea, otherwise, I can't go to the bathroom. And for me, who have never tasted tea, I just couldn't understand the logic. I said, why do you need tea? And like people say, I need alcohol if I need to dance. And I said, like, why do you require alcohol to dance? I mean, if you are happy, you are going to dance, the music will make you feel. So it's like I'm being true to my own self, then I'm more stable. And so we just call it more aligned to our own selves, right?
I love that. I love it. Loved it when you said happy for no reason. I think we
Yeah,
should all strive towards that. Like people say I'm sad for no reason, and everyone thinks it's completely normal. So why not be happy for no reason? That's also completely normal. In
sadness
fact,
is
that is what's normal.
addictive. I see you like to share your sad stories again and again. It becomes your identity. You know, मेरे साथ ये हुआ था वो था हाँ, but that's over. Even if you want to recreate, you can't. But for to be happy, it's like an astrologer will say this will happen. It's a fear-based mentality. I want to hold on to the negative, but if say sab अच्छा है, I don't want to hold on to it. Then I'm like, oh, I think I need someone else. It's very funny because there are times client come for a past life regression and I said, what are we working? They said, no issue. I said, let's go to a good life. You don't need to go to a negative life for resolution. You can see a very good life also because body cells will connect to it and they will start producing those hormones. But if the life has no drama and it was positive, then they come out, they say, मजा नहीं आया. I mean, it's I think yeah, that's how I think we all work. And one thing, I mean, I'm Jain and our Pajushans are coming, and at that point of time, we all fast. So I was always curious to ask you, like, what's your honest take on fasting or a gut cleanse, probiotics, liver cleanse that people go through? What do you feel about it? What do you have to say?
Absolutely. Thanks for asking. And I think that's a big question. So allow me to break it down into parts. Um, Talking about probiotics, right? So if you have a bad gut health to start with, if you have constipation, if you have loose motion, if you have hard stools, in those cases, yes, probiotics may help you in the short term to bring your gut health back to normal. But if you have regular stools, and if your stools are soft and bulky and there's no pain or discomfort, that means your gut health is already good. And to maintain that, probiotics will not really be helpful for you. What will be much more helpful is to feed the bacteria which are in your own gut. How do you know that you have enough bacteria in your gut? Soft, bulky stools. That's the key. So, when you pass stools, for example, did you know that half of the dry weight of your stools was your food? The other half is actually a bacterial colony. That's the good gut bugs. Those are the probiotics. Probiotics are the good bacteria are the probiotics. Okay, so I mean, don't eat your own stool. That's not what I'm recommending, just to be clear. But the good bacteria which are already there in your intestines, feed them. Feed them with fiber. Feed them with resistant starch. The good bacteria eat fiber and resistant starch. Bad bacteria tend to eat protein in general. So when you are eating enough fiber and resistant starch from whole grains and dals and legumes, you get soluble fiber. From fruits and vegetables, you get insoluble fiber. So when you're eating enough of all of these four, then you're able to maintain a good gut health, soft, bulky stools passing regularly, and that means that the need for probiotics is out.
Oh,
Okay, that's number one. Number two, about fasting. So few very interesting things here. um, if you go on a complete fast where you're drinking only water, your gut microbiome in fact gets wiped out. The same thing that happens when you eat an antibiotic. There's no food for them and they get completely wiped out, and then we need to reseed it again. Like we have a saying in yoga and naturopathy that anyone can fast, but it takes an expert to break a fast correctly. because that's what keeps you healthy for a long period of time. Say 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, you don't eat any food. And then after that, how are you reseeding your gut microbiome? What foods are you eating? Are you eating enough fruits and vegetables in the form of smoothies or salads, for example? Are you eating enough cooked veggies, cooked dals, whole grains, and step by step by step by step, not everything all at once, you know? And that helps you to rebuild your gut microbiome and stay healthy in the long run. That's one part of it. The other part of it is how you actually feel. Okay, for the first 3 days of a fast, you tend to get more and more and more depressed. You tend to get more and more and more withdrawn, more irritable, more like you don't want to see anyone, you don't want to talk to anyone. But then the fourth day onwards, suddenly a switch flips and you start feeling great. You start feeling like you have a lot of energy. You want to meet people, you want to be happy. Your brain starts elevating your mood once again. So there's an interesting evolutionary perspective for this. In evolution, human beings have evolved to be social animals. We are not solitary animals. Okay, that means we've mostly evolved as groups, families or communities or societies. We've evolved as groups. So, in such a social setting, if one group member falls sick, let's say with a cold or a cough or flu or diarrhea or some communicable disease, if they stay close to the other members, it's going to spread. Like how many times I've heard this story from my patients that my child fell sick, I nursed them back to health, they recovered, now I've fallen sick. It spreads, things spread, okay, infections spread. But when it spreads to a large number of group members at the same time, then that's not in favor of that society surviving. It's in fact opposite. There are more scopes for deaths, there are more scopes for complications. So because of this reason, as human beings, we seem to have evolved this trait that when we fall sick, we feel low. We feel low. Sleeping, we don't feel like interacting with anybody else. It's not so much for our health, it's for the health of everyone else around us. Okay, and that's one of the times when we naturally feel the symptoms of depression, because it works out in society's favor, it works out in evolution's favor. Okay, but when you continue this fasting for more than 3 days, your body gets into the mode where it's finished, all of its short term resources are now over, it started tapping into long term resources, and it has started figuring out that, hey, this person is not giving me food, I need food. How do I make them give me food? Let's make them excited, let's make them happy, let's make them enthusiastic about life so that they go out and find some food and feed me. Okay, so it actually ends up like it's like a negotiation with the body. The body is trying to push you to go out there and have some fun looking for fruits and eating some food. So the fourth day onwards, you actually tend to get better and better. Like I remember I had a client, and similar things happens when you shift to a healthy lifestyle. You start feeling better because your brain has gotten so much healthier. Like I had a patient who was suffering from depression, was under medications for it. Okay, she started a whole food plant-based diet under our care. Within 3 months' time, she improved so much that her medicines were reduced by more than 80%, and she was brought down to a just like a minimum dosage just to make sure that she is okay. But apart from that, she was feeling so much better, and as long as she continued eating whole food plant based, she was able to maintain that mental emotional state. Okay, the day she would eat unhealthy food again, in a few days old symptoms would start coming back, but back to healthy lifestyle, once again she can experience much better mental health and peace with
Yeah, that's great because I think that explains uh, and gives answers to a lot of doubts for I think me and for everyone else also. And if since it's a shortage of time, like if we have to summarize everything, and you focused a lot on the plant-based and the fruits and the seeds and everything, I just want to summarize it for all the people who are listening, that three easy food habits that can support their emotional wellness. Just like point one, point two, point three.
Absolutely. I would say number one, include fruits and salads in your meals. Undoubtedly, that is the simplest and the most powerful way. Okay. Number two, include green leafy vegetables as often as possible. Like in our plans, over a 3 month period, our clients reach a point where they are including greens in every single meal. Okay. It can't happen overnight. It's very difficult because of the sheer amount of preparation and prep work that goes into it. It takes a few months to set a system, but after that it's smooth sailing. It makes it so easy. Okay. And number three, include seeds and spices in your diet. Make sure you're consuming, like consciously using, because in Indian cooking we really don't use too much of seeds. Spices maybe, but not too much of seeds. So we're able to include more of the seeds and consciously make sure you're adding spices. And when I say spices, I don't mean salt, sugar, and fat. I mean turmeric powder. I mean cloves, cinnamon, mustard seeds, jeera, ajwain, cardamom powder, even saffron. In fact, saffron is one spice that's been researched and shown to alleviate the symptoms of depression, but it is quite costly. But there are so many other spices that have good benefits as well. So these would be the three big changes that you can start with, apart from moving away from animal foods and towards moving away from animal and processed foods, moving towards wholesome plant-based foods. Thank you for asking,
Yeah.
Sangeeta.
So when you say spices, it does not even mean chili and the mirchi powder and the garam masalas and all, right?
I mean, it does include chili, it does include garam
Okay.
masala, but then what most people do is our diet is based on chili, salt, and dhania powder, and that's it. Okay, most of us, the predominant three things will be salt, chili, and dhania powder. Dhania powder is great. Chili is also good, but when you eat too much of it, you might have irritation
Yes.
in the gut, and then that can cause problems. So moderation in spices, especially in chili, is good, but making sure that, like garam masala is a great thing. Okay, you have so many different spices in it, so it's actually a good idea to use garam masala in your meals, in your cooking, as long as it doesn't have any additives or preservatives. Please take care of that. Get it from a good brand and you should be good to go.
Okay. That was great. Thank you so much, Dr. Ishwar, for enlightening us with this and coming on this platform. And I am very sure people who are listening to it will really, really benefit a lot from this talk.
Thank you so much, Sangeeta. It's been an absolute pleasure and an honor to be here with you. I hope that it was helpful. I hope everyone watching found it useful. And I would love to hear from you guys if you have any questions or any comments. I think this is going to be on YouTube, so you can put it in the description. I'll be happy to hear from you. And, I think these, whatever we discussed today, some of them may have, I hope not too much has gone above the head, because I know there was a lot of medical terms there. But the lessons which you are taking back, if there's even one useful thing that you learned here today, please share it with someone that you care for. I think that's the best thing each one of us can do to make this world a better place to live in. Thank you so much for listening.
100%. No, we will share even your details with people so they also know where to contact, whether for consultation, and they can learn it also from you, right?
Yes,
And
absolutely.
if they want to buy, are there any tiffin or anything also?
Absolutely. So we have, if you want to learn how to stay healthy, we have courses, consultations, treatment plans where we help you to eat healthy, cook healthy, and prevent and reverse lifestyle diseases. And if you want a much simpler, more convenient solution, we have a social enterprise called Sampurna Ahara, where we make healthy sweet snacks, cakes, cookies, and meals which don't taste healthy at all, which tastes amazing, taste fantastic, and we deliver those to them all over India. And you can order from sampurnahara.com, or you can get in touch. I think the details should be in the caption. We'll be happy to support you in any way we can.
Thank you. That's wonderful because as long as people get to eat their cakes and their things and without feeling guilty about it because they know it's Sampurna Ahar and they are getting healthier food, they are very happy about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
So thank you once again for this. And I'm going to order mine for sure.
That's so kind of you.
Oh my God. Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye.